Well, hello, friends and neighbors. John, your whiskey neighbor here. Welcome down to the basement. Today, we're going to talk another Scotch. I seem to have a few bottles that I want to talk to you about in Scotch territory. I will get back to some bourbon and some rye soon, I hope. But today, I'm going to talk about an independent bottler, and it's part of the Hunter Lang series, and it's a single cask release of a Craigellachie. And I think just the other week, I was talking to you a bit about Craigellachie. And before that, I've definitely done a review of the Craigellachie. I only have the 13, and I've never had the 17. So even though I've had the 13 a few times and really enjoy it, I don't have a deep understanding of their lineup. But this will be, we're going to talk about, this is Hepburn's Choice, which is a sort of a range of independent bottlings. I'll talk more when we get back, but this is Hepburn's Choice, part of the Hunter Lang series, and it's Craigellachie. It's a 9-year-old. It's from a single cask. It's from a single sherry butt. So if you've got any sherried Scotch, why don't you pour a little bit? Come on back and see if you get some of the notes that I get out of this one. 3, 4. Well, thanks for staying with me. I was already getting into it a little bit that I know about, this independent bottler and this series. Hepburn's Choice, this is a Craigellachie 9-year-old, but just in general, they release, I think, either single casks or I think they will blend from a couple of small casks. It's a very small release. And they're always 46% natural color, no chill filtration. And they talk, I think, on their website about highlighting, that particular Scotch region or something like that, or maybe it highlights distillery. I can't remember. I couldn't find a lot of history. I think there was a maternal grandfather who the namesake is. Maybe I'll put that down below. But, I take a lot of chances on independent bottles when I can. Often local retailers, and that's the case with this, it was from Keg and Cork, we'll bring them in, they're pretty excited, and then, they might sit there because they don't have, in essence, they don't really have a lot of name recognition. So it's always a chance taking an independent bottle, right? Single cask expression, that kind of thing. So they often go on discount, and that's the case with this. And if you know me, if you're a longtime viewer, I really try to buy whiskey, good whiskey, but always on sale if I can. That was the case with this. And I've already told you, all of the Hepburn Choice is 46% natural color and non-chill filtration. Now, sometimes that gives you a good insight into a distillery that only ever puts out, filtered and colored. But this Craigellachie, this is a 13-year-old. It is 46%. It's non-chill filtered, and it sure looks natural color to me. I just can't get that confirmed. But let's talk about this one. This is Craigellachie, younger, 9 years, from a single sherry butt. So it's spent all 9 years sitting around in sherry, and now it's made it here. So let's see what we get on the whiskey. I like this nose. It is leathery. It is a rich kind of prune plum, like it's got some of those dark fruits. And yet there's some sugars, almost like confectionery sugar. So it's this balance between quite a sweet nose, a sugared nose, with some of those leather dark notes that I like to get if I'm reaching for sherry. Yeah, you know what? I really like this nose. And the fellow that I bought it from, I think he was owner or manager. I forgot. Either way, it wasn't his favorite. And really, the commentary there wasn't a lot of sherry. For me, that's this nose. It is. Now, there's a little bit of what I've said before of that industrial note that I get from Craigellachie, which I like. So there is a little bit of a edge of salt, edge of soot. It's not smoky so much, but then I'm getting what I said, all those leathered, older, huskier fruits with a sweetness. Let's try it on the palate. Sláinte. So in the palate, a lot of those flavors push through. I'm getting little bit of cocoa or espresso or nut. So those are for me a husky flavor group that I often get from, you know, a full sherry dram. Some of the brightness of the fruit that I kind of was getting on the nose, well, I guess I was talking leathered already, but some of the fruitiness of the nose really washed away. So it feels cask and woody and nutty and espresso driven. Malt, and this is where the age is showing through. You know, nine's not bad anymore. I've certainly been impressed with some really young whiskeys lately. So nine at least has a little bit of age, but it definitely has some bite along the sides and some spirit-driven nature to the malt. So it is a bit young, and it tastes a bit young. It doesn't coat as much as I was hoping with that non-chill nature. Let's try it again. As is often the case for me, second sip in a row on a dram like that, I am getting some more layers. Now I've got a little bit of spicing, like a nutmeg or a clove edge, like the savory spicing. The sweetness that I was getting in the nose, that confectionery, really not present. This to me is a very savory dram. The fruits are very old and dried. Like that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying they're less fresh, and there's really no floral edge for me. Instead, it's a little spicier now, a little more, and still playing in those darker places. But, you know, I've had this bottle for a little bit, and I know that I've enjoyed it even more than I am sitting here right now. Right now, it's really playing into the dark trends, and in the past, it has had a balance, a little bit to it. Some, I don't know, other fruit notes that help me like it. So, tough to rate this. Am I happy that I bought this bottle? I'm ecstatic that I bought this bottle. I love Craigellachie, and to taste one that's just sat only in sherry is a real good understanding of what that kind of casking might do to what a dram that I just really, really love. So this is, for me, it's probably only 3 3/4 stars. You know, it had the potential to be a real breakout. And I like it, but it's got a few flaws that could lead it into bitterness or lead it into not enough balance to some of those leathered sherry notes. So the reason why I shot this today is because this Craigellachie bottle is basically done. And I knew that if I put it off any longer, this lovely 13-year-old would probably disappear and I couldn't do a comparison. So in this moment, how does the regular Craigellachie, 46 non-chill, sure looks natural color to me, compare? Now it is older at 13 years on the nose. Oh, I'm getting some cool soured fruits. More of that characteristic slight edge, slight smoke. Interesting. Here now, the fruiting that I'm getting could almost get into a melon, could almost get into a, like that kind of thing, especially in contrast. Now this nose is all sherry and chocolate, and actually quite a good nose. Like a really good nose. I like this too, but quite different on the palate. Sláinte. I like that. I actually get a little more oak. In this case, the oak is a nice finishing. Sorry, I was jumping around. It is much more coating in the palate, which is very interesting to me. They should be incredibly similar. And the spicing, I'm getting a little bit of peppering in there, which is nice. And it also plays, though, I will say, into a dark, not super dark, but a little bit sooty, a little bit industrial. Almost get a little bit of the chocolate on the regular, but quite a difference. You know, it's a real treat to be able to have, you know, two expressions from the same distillery. Clearly casking and blending, you know, because it's a single malt, one distillery, but they put a lot of different casks together, has a great effect on flavor. But where I was going is, you know, these times that I like to share around with you guys, it's always just my opinion. And I would say that my opinion shifts, which is why, if I can, I like to compare a couple of bottles with you in essence live. Sure, I edit out all the parts when I sneeze and do crazy things, but I try to do it because in this moment it highlights the differences. And this, not surprisingly, really is all about the sherry. But very interesting to me is that it wasn't quite as coating as this other Craigellachie. And while there is more, sherry note fruits, like for me, this one's kind of prune, plum, like it's darker. This actually has a fair fruit quality. And this time around, it was pushing into almost a melon note. Oh, man. And it's so good. Look, in this sitting here, I know I'm rambling a bit, but in this sitting, I actually prefer this 13-year-old. And so I love that I took a chance on this, and I really appreciate the strong sherry here and a chance to taste, hey, what would Craigellachie be like if it was just sherried? So this is good, and I'm glad I got it. But I think this is actually a really well put together dram, and certainly for the price we see it around here, really tough to beat. Thanks for joining me here. Hope you guys have had a great Saturday. I hope you've been able to drink along a little bit, and this was a nice pause for your day. So enjoy the rest of the weekend if you're seeing it, near live, and certainly hope your week has started well. You guys take care.